Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Staten here today from the Lesson program, and I am live with you or recording live with One Council, One Voice podcast. And I'm so excited today because we have a minority female contractor here with us, and I'm just excited to introduce Lynette Sutton. I'm going to read her bio because it's very impressive. And we have a couple of questions, and it's going to be good and it's going to be fun. So Lynette Sutton is known as Girl That Pours in Philadelphia, with a deliberate commitment to attracting local and diverse talent in the building trades. She is the managing partner of Incorporated, a 100%, and I need to say this a couple of times, a 100% union, minority-owned concrete contractor, specializing in structure and site concrete. Lynette has led Girl Concrete to significant growth, successfully securing contracts with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, 30th Street Station, Foreman Arts Institutes, West Park, Bellwether District, and many others. She brings 19 years of boots on the ground experience in the construction industry. She is a graduate of Wharton School of Business Executive Management program and alumna of Johns Hopkins University. Lynette oversees all girl contract projects, ensuring each is built with the eye for detail and a commitment to sustainability. With a focus on inclusivity, quality, and long term impact, Lynette is leading her team to pour foundations and walls that strengthen Philadelphia's infrastructure from the ground up as Girls Concrete continues to grow. The industry is witnessing a visionary and dynamic leader cementing her place as a game changer in concrete. Well, hello, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So impressive, so impressive. I've only known you a short period of time, right? I've met her maybe like 5 or 6 times. Always pleasant, always a smile. Personality just exudes who she is. Just, you see how beautiful she is, but just her personality, and energy is always upbeat. And
I need to come to you more often.
listen, that's why we're here. It's girl power, and that's a good thing, okay? Let me tell you. No, but that's the truth, right? And that's why I asked you to join me today, because I want to do this series with females, minorities, and construction. And I thought of you first, and I'm looking at this impressive bio. And I'm just saying to myself, how do we get from Wharton to Girl Concrete? So talk to me a little bit about that.
So I'm going to start with one of my first days at Wharton. I attend Wharton. I'm sitting in the classroom.
Mhm.
I have an instructor that introduces himself and says, essentially, look to your left, look to your right.
Okay.
One of you is going to wonder what happened. One of you is not going to know it even happened. One of you is going to make it happen. At that moment, I knew I was the girl that was going to make it happen.
Come on now.
I didn't know what I was going to make happen. I didn't know
something.
but something was going to happen. And so I was, to explain how Girl Concrete evolves, I have to take you back to my real estate portfolio. I had just relocated to the city of Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the market to buy a home.
Okay.
And I'm doing all this research. I was working at Penn.
Okay.
And I decided that I would buy a property in West Philly.
Okay, West Philly.
Okay. So I'm doing a lot of research. And at the time, Robert Kiyosaki had a seminar that was taking place on buying real estate at the Jacob Javits Convention Center in New York City. And I decided to go to kind of just get a little bit more information.
Okay.
Right? What I should buy, any strategies.
And all this from just buying a house, right?
This was just about buying a home.
You're a research kind of girl.
Yes. Yes. Can you tell?
I just want to make sure.
So I go to this seminar, and he says at the seminar, he asked the audience, what is your home? Is it an asset or is it a liability? And everybody says, oh, well, naturally your home is an asset.
Of course.
Right? And he says, no, it's only an asset if it's an income producing property. If it produces income passively. If it doesn't do that and it's not passively putting money into your pocket, it's a liability. So here we go. So I say, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't buy a single family home. Maybe I need to buy a duplex.
Come on.
And I decided my first property was on 48th and Walnut, and it was a duplex property with a tenant that lived in one of the units and passively put money into my pocket. But the house, if you would have, Tony, if you would have blown on that house, it would have fallen apart. So I
The
had
duplex, you mean?
the duplex.
Wow.
So it's at that point, I'm working at Penn, and I decide I'm going to hire a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, and I don't know anything about any of these trades.
I love that.
And at the time, I'm going to date myself, but you used to be able to go to Barnes and Nobles and buy
Right.
carpentry for dummies,
Everything.
electrical
Exactly.
dummies. And I'm reading these things at night. And I'm saying, so I could talk the talk, right?
Okay.
To the men.
Right. So they won't try to BS you too. You
Right,
kind of know, like,
right.
oh, that sounds familiar from the book I bought. How about that?
Right. I wanted to sound like I knew what I was talking about, you know?
Exactly.
So along the way, I start buying and flipping in West Philly. And I keep some of that crew. Some of them I let go.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So the crew that you hire initially for your first duplex became your actual crew. Wow.
And first-time
amazing.
home buyers, single mothers,
Yes.
stay-at-home moms, investors start saying, who's running this project? And I said, me, a girl. And they said, well, when you done, can you come look at this? Because my husband keeps promising me he's going to fix my kitchen, and he hasn't done it.
Now, are you still at Penn, or this is like
I'm still at Penn.
Okay.
And then I decide to leave Penn, and I start girl contracting. And that is actually the beginning of my experiences servicing clients and investors in the city.
Oh, so you go from literally a blank canvas, going to the Barnes and Nobles, educating yourself. No, this is real because people always want to know, I don't know how to get started. I have this property, it needs work. Where do I where do I go from there? I mean, and people will stop right there and they won't go any further. The fact that you were able to continue with the crew that you initially hired from your first job that followed you to the other flipping properties, that is amazing. And the fact that real estate class that you went to in New York, when he asked the question, asset or liability, you made sure that it was a liability. And do you understand sometimes how the universe, you were meant to be at that seminar. You were meant to receive that information because that guided you along the way in terms of that management program too at Wharton. The question that he said, look to your left or look to your right. Like
That's right.
all that becomes a full circle moment.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
But that's girl contract.
That's
So
girl
everybody
contract.
says like, oh, okay, well, how do you evolve into girl concrete?
And why just why concrete? How did you pick concrete?
So for that, I will thank my father. My father always encouraged me to read the newspaper every single day. Okay. I was never allowed to just go out into the universe without understanding what was going on around me. So either watch the news or read the paper. Okay. So one day in 2022, in the paper, the headline reads, the bipartisan infrastructure law has been passed. And I'm like, what does that mean? And it was a $1.2 trillion investment.
Biden.
Correct.
Because the Laborers were happy about that. I'm sorry.
Right.
I know all about that. We were happy about it. So yes, he was our friend. Yes, I'm sorry.
It was a $1.2 trillion investment in bridges, in our roads, in our infrastructure.
Of course.
Right? And at that point, I was noticing on the girl contracting side that investors and first-time home buyers were sort of slowing down in their remodeling.
Okay.
They had liquidity, but they were holding on to the money in their pocket. They weren't as quick to spend it and want to do any buying and flipping or fix the kitchen or fix it, right? And that was because the rise of the cost of credit was rising at that time. So 2022, I see this headline and I say, there's a lot of concrete that's going to be taking place and being poured. And I don't know a woman in that space in the city of Philadelphia. And I also don't know a woman of color in that space.
That's right.
So I looked at my husband and I said, we're gonna start another company. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna start Girl Concrete.
Oh,
that's really the truth.
goodness. Thank goodness for Biden. And that bipartisan bill. No, seriously, because
Yes.
people were afraid to spend because we were just coming off Trump.
Right.
Everything was chaotic in COVID. Right?
That's
so people were afraid. I mean, the
Yes.
housing market, everything, was kind of blooming. But again, they were like, okay, I'm in here. I got a good percentage at this time. But
Right.
I don't want to, I'm afraid to spend because I don't know what's coming next.
That's right.
You're absolutely right because we were the trades industry was so excited for Biden and that bipartisan bill and work was coming.
Yes.
Okay, so the work is coming, so you change your name. Now we're Girl Concrete.
And I come to the unions. And Girl Concrete, has that bad word associated with it. It was open shop.
Yes. Yes.
So Girl Concrete, I fundamentally understood that, in the city of Philadelphia, you can't pour concrete. You
Right.
can't do anything in public works or structurally
Mhm.
without any sort of association or affiliation with the union.
Yes.
So I knocked on the door of the 5 unions that were related to the trade that I was about to embark on.
Okay.
And just said, I'm going to, essentially be an entity in the city of Philadelphia, and I want to sign with you.
How did that go? Were you nervous? I mean, so the five, it's okay. So the 5 trades unions were
So the laborers. Thank you. The carpenters.
Okay.
Okay. The cement masons, the finishers. The rod setters or the iron workers.
Okay.
And the operating engineers.
So when you left those conversations, and I want you to be honest, how did you feel? Did you feel excited, defeated, or okay, something's good could come? And how did you feel coming out those meetings? Were some better than others? Were some receptive to others? Then how? And be honest, how were those meetings? How did you feel? What was your experience?
Well, typically when you become signatory, I think you have a runway of work.
Come on.
Right? And so you come to the meeting with this portfolio of projects that you're about to embark on. I didn't have any of that. I was just introducing myself as Girl Concrete. I was signing first. And then I was gonna go and get the project. So
come on. No, I love this because this is so interesting. People need to understand you have to go in with a plan, a dream, and confidence. You didn't have a portfolio like you said. You didn't have this elaborate. You just had an idea. You knew the money was coming. You knew the opportunity would be the best opportunity right now. And I'm just going to take my shot. And you did so well.
Thank you.
Did
I
so
really wanted to
well.
ensure I had workworse because that was
Right,
key,
of course, of course.
And
you got a team.
right.
You know what I mean? Like listen.
Yeah. So once I started landing projects, then obviously the relationship changed and became more favorable.
Right.
But initially it was just like, well, if you want to become signatory, what is your portfolio of work? And I hadn't done yet.
Right.
So but the meetings, to answer your questions, with all of the unions that we're currently signed with, was actually very positive.
Okay.
We were different. We were Girl Concrete. So all of them were like, what is that?
Didn't really know what to expect. Have seen you, like you said, because there were no other minority female.
Right.
So this was a good lane for you to actually be in. And kind of, piqued their interest, in a sense. So the fact that you were coming through their doors, I know they were impressed with that. So you're going to sign and be signatory. Yes, we're going to welcome that. And we're just going to see how it lands.
Thank you.
People are fair. The building trades are fair. So let's talk and fast forward, because I'm thinking to myself, 2022 was only 4 years ago. It wasn't even that long ago. No. You know what I mean? It wasn't that long ago. So you have a team of what at that moment when you're going in? Your team is of?
It was 3 of us. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was 3 of us. And At that time, the school district of Philadelphia was about to start renovating schools that were in extremely poor conditions. And they were even they even had projects where they were completely demolishing the school.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
One of those projects was Lewis Cassidy School.
Okay.
In Lansdowne. And I learned about the project. I sent it out to estimators, not in-house estimators, because I didn't have any in-house estimators.
Okay. I had to rely on.
I had a superintendent, all right, and then myself and essentially my husband. That was the team.
That was the team.
That was it. And so I outsourced the estimating.
Okay.
And the takeoff comes back and it basically tells me how much I can bid the project for, right?
Okay.
I didn't trust that. So I go to a second.
Why?
Because it was just one opinion.
Right.
I could get hurt on that,
okay,
right?
I got you. Okay.
If I put that proposal in and was low and didn't have anything to compare it to. So
because you're a research girl too.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
so here we go.
Yeah. I love that. See, that's important too. That's important. People know you have to research and you have to get more than one opinion. It's important. That's right.
So I felt that was important and critical. So I then send the plans out for a second opinion. And then now I need a tiebreaker because now I have one estimate and then I have another estimate and I'm not sure.
How far apart were they? So the first estimate was how far from the second estimate? Was it over or under? That's all you got to say.
Well, one was over the other by a couple $100,000. So that's significant.
Yes, that is.
So I needed a tiebreaker.
You need a tiebreaker. You need an odd man out. Okay, bring that odd man. Let's see what he has to offer. Okay.
So the third estimate lines up helping and to inform, are the quantities right? What's the manpower? What's our means and methods? And then we put the proposal in.
Ooh.
And they call us into D-Scope. And I'm like, wow. At the time, I didn't have not one truck.
Exactly. I was supposed to say, no manpower. Like, oh my God, it worked. Look, it worked. Okay. It worked.
Oh gosh. So I'm sitting there in a D-Scope and one of the owners of the company says, well, where are you gonna get your manpower from?
I was wondering the same question.
And then cause you don't really want to be in the practice of just pulling them off the bench. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's a great question. And then I'm like, so I say, well, there are ebbs and flows in each project. So I'm sure that there is onboarding and offboarding and layoffs. And so, I'll just put the opportunity out into the streets and word of mouth and see what happens. So the third person that I told you, there was three. There's three of us. So the superintendent, he was very seasoned. I
like that.
Kind of consider him sort of like an advisor to the company, right? Okay. Many, many years in concrete at the time. And he says, what she really needs to say is she's going to steal them.
See, he can say that though. Like you couldn't say that. Right. He could say that. Seasoned in the industry.
Right. He said she's going to steal them.
Okay.
And they were like, okay. And they said, we'll get back to you on the project. About, I think, 48 hours later, they called.
Okay.
And said, we're going to award you the project. Start stealing the men. And I was thinking, you don't even know what's coming because I'm going to be pulling in a bunch of women along with me.
Come on there.
So, and that was really it. And that first opportunity was $2.4 million.
I was going to ask how big the project was. Wow.
That's be careful what you ask for.
That's impressive, though. That's very impressive. So how many people did you then had to steal, including females, right, for that project? And where did you go searching? Because we need to know. Was it apprentice programs? We hope. If not, what did you tell us about?
We did take some off the bench. We gave a lot of opportunity to folks that were overlooked. Reentry citizens.
Come on.
Okay. People of color that sometimes felt like they were in companies where they were being just passed over, or the company had their longtime foremans and there was no room for them to grow or be promoted. We didn't have any of that because I didn't have a workforce. So you could just come to this project, and if you told me what essentially I wanted to hear, which was why you care about working in this community. It was 19151. I'll never forget that zip code. 19151. If you said some fundamental reasons why you thought that this school and this build was about the community in mind, and you could see that you if I could see that you wanted the opportunity to work for the areas that you live, work, and play around in, then you had it. And then we would see. And so suddenly I'm on the job site and I have, I hired a superintendent, right?
Okay.
And I have all of these people just approaching the superintendent saying, we heard that a girl got this job and we want to see if we can work for her. Now, admittedly, Tony, that was a job that I was new, right? I was new to the game. So I tried a lot of different workforce. In the end, we hired for that opportunity. We went to a lot of workforce. All right. Because some of them just didn't have skill set. In total, we probably hired for that job close to about 88 people.
Did you?
Across the trades.
Wow. So here
That's
you
a
are.
lot.
Listen, that's what I'm going to say. So here you are going from 3 people, right? And the flips that you had, right? The background and flipping homes. So you have now 88 people
that ran through from the start of that job to the end of that job.
And how long was it?
That job was slightly over a year.
Okay.
And, you're hiring carpenters. Some of them are working out. Some of them are not.
Of course.
Hiring laborers. Some of them working out.
Going through folks.
Going through folks and hooks. Same thing with operating engineers and, cement finishers. And so finally, you begin to tighten.
Process of elimination.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Okay. I'm so happy for you, right? That you were able to literally start from scratch.
Thank you.
When you didn't have a clue or idea, but you had a vision and you have research. And this conversation is so important because it's allowing people to see when you don't have a plan, but you have the grit. People like to throw it around a lot. This is an example of grit right here. Like seriously, folks, because you weren't going to allow yourself not to show up right? In terms of the research. And second, the opportunity that reading that paper that gave you, oh, wait, it's money. It's money about to be made in this city right here. And I want to be a part of that. It's a true testament of who you are as a person, showing up for others, showing up for those 88 people that are now down to how many people? Your team.
So now our workforce is 28.
Dedicated employees.
Correct.
You understand? Because that's the difference.
Correct.
And weaning out those who you weren't able to basically take with you to the next job. That first job was very important for you to find those people throughout all the years. I'm just saying, but
and then there's also the other angle. I mean, could we have probably maintained a larger workforce? Yes, but it would be contingent on owners and developers also taking note.
Right.
And so by that, I mean, developers and owners set the procurement standards. They are the ones, or whether it's the city, whether it's a private owner or a private partnership, they're the ones that set the goals for that project. And so depending on how dialed in they want to be on the contracts,
yes,
that determines our runway.
That was really
right?
eloquent. How dialed in they want to be. I love that. She did that nicely. I love that. You are so nice and kind. I love that. Chose your words. I appreciate that because you have to, because you respect and understand the trust the process. You understand what the process means, and like you said, they're the ones that basically control, who you bring in, how you bring it in. And so how are your relationships now, right? Because this is, like I said, that's only 4 years ago. You've been in the business for 19 years. But 4 years in terms of Girl Concrete, it's still a baby. It's still kind of new and fresh. I want to talk about some of the difficult stuff. I'm going to talk about some of the obstacles. That's very important. Even let's talk a little bit about in terms of line of credit. Because a lot of people, in terms of getting bonded, the line of credit, they struggle with that a whole lot. You hear the stories, and that alone will turn a person who's driven, who has the grit, who wants to just turn them away. Talk to me about how difficult that is.
So, Girl Concrete being such a new entity was not bankable. Okay. So, I couldn't go to a bank and say, hey, I have a contract for the school district. Um, can I have a line of credit?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
I had no proof of concept. I had no tax return for the business yet. I certainly didn't have 2 years, right?
Right.
So,
And this is in 2022?
correct.
So you're really coming raw from the door. Like you are coming with a blank slate across all entities of your business.
So the strength and what we leaned on was, in fact, the other businesses.
Okay.
Okay. And our real estate portfolio. That is what we use to finance the jobs. As far as bonding is concerned, we were successful in obtaining a bond. But again, bonding is based on your financial wherewithal.
Okay.
And we were bringing that from the other entity. Okay. That isn't everybody's experience. So I can certainly sympathize with the challenges that we see today,
Right.
where folks don't have access to capital. But I think there's a lot of well-intentioned companies and mission aligned investors
Okay.
that are in Philadelphia that are, quite frankly, really um, wanting to put their dollar deliberately into our community.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's helpful too. And it's important for people to understand too, even your small projects that you do, in terms of, let's just say you call me your mom and pop projects, are important.
That is correct.
They are important to record start to finish in terms of selling yourself. You have to show those investors, the bankers, people like that, so they can see, okay, well, you do have some potential. You have been doing something. Might not be on this scale, but you have something to show for it. And that's important that people are creating a portfolio, no matter how small they may think it is, right? Because you still want to sell yourself and you still want to make sure that they see the work and that it can be done. So I appreciate that. So yeah, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So you talk a little bit about your husband and him being one of the three. So what is his background?
So he's actually a master electrician.
Okay. Okay. So the trades across the board, folks. All right.
But what he really helped to ground us in, yes, pun intended,
It's okay. I love it. We understand.
was process. Uh, and it was keeping our nose down. We weren't just sort of touting Girl Concrete.
Okay.
We were about structurally being able to deliver this project and have the work and the workforce speak for itself.
Gotcha. Took the words right out my mouth. Exactly. So he helped you with that in terms of, listen, get in and get out. Do what you came here to do. Keep your nose, stay in your lane when it comes to the work, and you'll be fine. You'll be successful.
And people would naturally then take notes.
Exactly.
But not the other way around. Not us sort of saying, well, I'm a woman in the trades and look at the projects that I've amassed without the proof of concept.
Right.
You got to deliver on those projects. Okay. And they have to be structurally sound. And that's what we were focused on. and developing a workforce that would be willing to um, essentially come along for that ride.
Right, right. Trust the process. So, again, back to some of the obstacles. Tell me one of your most frustrating, as nice and eloquent as you can put it, because you can. Bidding processes where you didn't get it and you really felt like you might have been better than the other company that received the work, right? Just in terms of the work, your approach. Tell me about a situation and experience where you just were like, yeah, no, I have to go about this differently because this is for me. Like, and why didn't I get that?
So I think that as you're entering a field that's largely um, generational,
Mhm.
right? This is a trade that's largely deep relationships,
Mhm.
generational companies, and here comes Girl Concrete. And you can obviously see and hear from the introduction that we didn't have a lot of those relationships that could drive our number and our bids,
Right.
right? So at the onset, we weren't as competitive
Okay.
with our bid, and that was in part because our relationships with our suppliers
Okay.
didn't have the same bandwidth that other companies had.
Okay.
Like they're constantly buying
Right.
concrete
I
every
got you. I
single,
got you.
so that drives
I got you.
their buying power,
Mhm.
and we didn't have that initially,
Mhm.
and every day work on that, right? So that in essence can affect the price of your product, right? and
Mhm.
and in
Mhm.
turn your bid.
So supplier relationships are truly important,
Correct.
which definitely makes sense.
Right.
Okay, that's fair.
And so initially when we would not get a project, one of the things that I often would try to do is
Mhm.
get some sort of feedback on that.
That's important.
And sometimes it's hard for you to get that from the general contractor, right? Because now they're buying out the next trade.
Right, right. They're
And they're
moving
not so
on.
yeah, they're
Right.
not so concerned about giving you that feedback. But you have to find a way to use the spaces that you're in,
Mhm.
such as the million and one events that there are in the city of Philadelphia that take place during the
Come
afternoons,
on.
during the
The
evenings,
luncheons, the fundraisers.
that is correct. And all these things. And I find that we are not deliberate sometimes with what is our agenda at these events.
Exactly.
We're just there socializing and
Got
talking
you.
about all kinds of stuff, and you didn't get that opportunity.
Mm, I got you.
That is a place to find the person and find out why and have a
That's That's
sidebar.
right. Conversation.
That's right. Have that sidebar. Understand, was the delta 100,000? Was it 50,000? Was my quantity off? What was it? Because now you're one on one. You can hold a person.
Exactly.
You
Look
can,
them in the eyes.
right?
Give them a glass of wine. Maybe they
That's
tell
right.
you more.
Right,
No,
right.
seriously.
Yes. That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And it happens every day.
Mm-hmm.
Some people choose to do it on a golf course,
Right. Come on.
right?
I tell you, she's eloquent about her delivery. I love it.
So, but we really need to think about
Mhm.
the events that we're attending,
That's right.
why we're going, and what's our agenda. How does it further your business?
Right. That is so important. I love the way you put that. I mean, you hear it all the time. You're in these rooms, make sure you're talking to the person, you're networking, but it's bigger than networking. This is, I need some answers. I know this contractor or this person or this representative is going to be there. This is my time to, you know what? I will attend. I'll be there. That is so good. Use these luncheons or these gatherings to your advantage in terms of having a plan to ask the questions, ask the hard questions, right? Not make them uncomfortable. Maybe it is a sixer game. Who knows? But the point is, you know what I mean? Have those conversations where they can open up and honestly and say, you know what, Lynette, this is the reason why.
Correct.
And it's sometimes, a lot of times, it's going to be between me and you, and that's okay too.
Right.
That's really what you want. Between me and you, egg.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're like, okay,
Yep.
we're good. We're
Yep.
good. You know, I like that. Really taking advantage of, just don't show up because it's a good obvious. Don't show up for the photo shoot.
That's right.
Don't show up for the photo shoot.
Or
Show
the
up to have a
Instagram
plan.
post
Yeah,
or
yeah, all that
yeah.
good stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So now, when we're out and about, every time I see her, I'm going to say, "Oh yeah, she's here for a reason. She showed up for something."
That is true.
This is good. I love that. That was very insightful. I have another question in terms of just the presence of women in construction, right, and the lack thereof. Lynette came here today. We have this beautiful podcast room and we're looking at it. And the backdrop, right? It is a shot of a lot of members from the different locals that we have, the 6 locals. And the first thing she said is, well, where are the females? And far and few in between, they are there. But just like it just goes to show how this industry in 2026 is really hard to pick them out. It's really hard to see them. And I want you to tell us a little bit, and this will be the last question, or maybe it's for the last question. What advice can you give a female who has a dream, who's aspiring and to be in this industry? What can you tell them in terms of advice, right? When they watch this podcast, and you can tell them in terms of showing up, the distractions or the discouraging moments that they're going to have, and what you can tell them in terms of keep going, because there are a lot of minority females just starting off, and I say just starting off, been in the business maybe 5-6 years, and just they're afraid because of those conversations, because they only have 3 teams. It's just them and 2 other people. We got to really talk to the people about showing up and what that looks like in terms of wanting to be successful.
Well, being a woman in construction, you are going to feel until there is sort of hopefully a turn in the tide, right? You are going to feel that there are not many of you uh, um, that are in the workforce. Um, the business itself can be difficult, right? It wears on your body. It wears on your mind. And the hours can be ones where maybe you're the parent that needs to drop off your kids or pick them up from school. So um there's just a lot of barriers to entry, right? With that being said, we constantly hear in the industry the concern that there is a workforce shortage. And quite frankly, that's just not my experience.
Okay.
Um, I don't see that in the city of Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
We have women, young men, people of color, local apprentices, right,
Mm-hmm.
that are willing, ready, and eager to work.
Come on.
Period. And to say that we have a workforce shortage is almost to ignore that there is a pipeline of individuals that want an opportunity. They just need training.
Come on.
And they need consistent work. So when we're looking at the sort of the dynamic that's taking place here in the city, what we need to understand is that the challenge at the moment is that we have an aging workforce, right?
Okay.
Aging tradesmen,
Mm-hmm.
especially in concrete, right?
Okay.
That we need to have them train others,
Oh, okay.
bring them up.
That's what you need.
Okay. This work has typically been legacy work, right? It's a brotherhood culture. It's from father to son, uncle to nephew.
Okay.
And that moment now is one in which we need to sort of look at differently. If we can widen our lens on who the workforce is,
come on,
a woman,
yes,
a woman of color, an apprentice, a young Black male, if we can widen our lens on who deserves to be on a build, then that headline about a workforce shortage certainly goes away.
Exactly.
So I would say to women, I would say to young men, I would say to anyone in the 191 ... community.
Yes.
394-351, 445. Anyone in local Philadelphia that's thinking about joining the trades, I would say to them, the world that we all would like to see has not been built yet. So come on and build it.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that is beautiful. And like you said, it's so important for those seasoned workers to really mentor the young ones, bring them in and allow them to show them, train them. Because like you said, they're on their way out. And it's really about the next generation. It really is. Oh my God, that was so profound. I appreciate you so much. Oh my God, this was so nice. I do want to ask one more question, right? Because listen, I promise you, and this is just real simple. It's about you. If you wrote a book and about yourself, who would you dedicate that book to and why? This is like my go-to ending question.
So, Tony, what you don't know is that I'm actually writing a book.
See what happens? And I started it just to cut and they were done. And I said, no, I'm going to be consistent and stick with my question at the end of the interview. She's writing a book. So who are you dedicating to, do you know?
So the book is dedicated to my children.
Oh, wow.
And the reason is this. The book won't be out until next year.
Okay.
I'll keep it sort of brief, if you will.
That's good. Okay, it's fine.
But I will share with you that one of the things, I have a 16-year-old son and I have a 10-year-old daughter.
Okay.
With my husband. And one of the things that has been my observation is that they can tell you about the sine of an angle, the cosine, the tangent, on and on and on, right? A right angle, blah, blah, blah. But they can't balance a checkbook. So the book will speak to financial literacy for young people, for young adults.
Yes.
And how to amass wealth.
Unmass wealth?
Amass.
Amass. Okay, I'm sorry.
Amass wealth. How to actually generate wealth. Forget about talking about generational wealth.
Right.
Let's start actually giving our children the tools that they need to establish their own wealth.
I love that. And who else but Girl Concrete, the one who can
give you the foundation.
Listen, renovating her duplex to flipping homes to now in business for 19 years. Lynette Sutton, thank you so much for this great interview. I appreciate you so much. And like I said, you're just so eloquent.
It's my pleasure.
Beautiful. It's my pleasure. Yes, this was great. Thank you, everybody. Yes, we're good.
One council.